Now, after seeing the amount of memes related to Wally West and him soloing my favorite verse, I wanted to see how far bro would actually get within the pieces of fiction I've gone over throughout my time of power scaling. Which pretty much means we will be power scaling Wally West and putting him up against verses like Marvel, Dragon Ball, Ben 10, and etc. So be sure to stay until the end of the video to know if Wally West truly solos. Because I'm not gonna lie, this trend of Wally West soloing everybody's favorite verse has gotten out of hand, with people actually believing he is just simply the strongest character within fiction, which no. Wally West is obviously not the strongest person within fiction. I don't even think he's the strongest being within his own universe. However, he is still one of the most powerful superheroes to ever step foot in the DC universe. Now, before Wally West was notorious as one of the strongest and fastest beings within the multiverse, he was initially just a man who happened to get struck by lightning. This, combined with some chemicals, allowed him to gain the ability of super speed, and it wouldn't be long until he'd be Barry's sidekick, known as Kid Flash. But of course, with the events of post-crisis and Barry Allen sacrificing himself, Wally takes the mantle of the Flash for a few years before these two Flashes just kind of end up coexisting because, you know, comic book retcons and whatnot. Anywho, even in Wally's early days as Kid Flash, he was casually moving at half the speed of light and can move so fast that he can leave photons standing still. And he has shown the ability to intercept lasers and obviously increase his level of speed to pretty much whatever he needs it to be. And for those who want to hear me say it, yes, Wally West can move far beyond the speed of light. We see Wally not only be fast enough to keep up and outpace Superman, but when arguing with Barry and running across the planet, Superman states that he's not able to stop them. This leads into Green Lantern literally conjuring up a construct with all of his will, which just fails. And it gets so bad that they quite literally play havoc with the fabric of the multiverse, and remember, this is only from a little argument between these two, which led into them racing. Wally and Barry then go on to stop Zoom, a villain of Wally's who took every single force except the Speed Force, which gave him the strength to quite literally solo the Justice League. This leads into Barry and Wally chasing him down, and after Barry gives Wally a "Run Barry Run" speech, he gains the confidence to keep going and even catch up to Zoom, leading into him quite literally one-shotting a multiversal level threat while nerfed after getting a confidence boost. And again, him and Barry accidentally just broke into hyper time, meaning they should be bare minimum immeasurable in speed. And past this point, Wally just kind of leaves Barry in the dust, and it's just kind of a general consensus that Wally is faster than Barry. And I mean, Barry says it multiple times, Barry is just always one step behind Wally. Wally has taken on both Zoom and Thawne at once. And mind you, this isn't even Wally at his absolute peak. You see, when Wally is at his strongest, he's mainly accessing energy from the Speed Force, a dimension that exists outside of DC's cosmology and should be considered bigger than things like the base universe, which bare minimum should at least contain dozens to even up to an infinite number of dimensions. Now, of course, this all depends on what you think for DC's cosmology. Wally could range from as weak as Battle of Gods Goku to beyond Alien X's comprehension. It just kind of depends how you argue it. However, I definitely think DC's cosmology does not just cap at like 4 or 6D. It should be a lot higher within the dimensional tiering system, as there's just a bunch of ways to prove that the base universe of DC has an infinite amount of dimensions. And of course, if you want to be fat and sweaty about it, you can say DC is layers upon layers into Outerversal. While I definitely think that scaling is not definitive, I don't think Wally just caps at 4D at best either. Now, I didn't get specific with his speed, but for reference, Wally is somebody who's without a doubt the fastest man alive within his own universe. He's faster than Barry, Superman, and pretty much any relevant DC character. In fact, he's so fast that he's said to be faster than the Speed Force itself, which is an incredibly stupidly overpowered statement because we just went over how busted the Speed Force actually is. And I mean, Wally, while exhausted, has ran back in time, he's ran through hyper time accidentally, and has even outran the concept of death itself. And after outrunning death, he even ran to the end of time and even witnessed the birth of a new universe. He should be beyond layers into immeasurable based off of these feats, meaning your goats like Sonic and even Goku wouldn't be able to catch bro due to them only having baseline immeasurable feats. But of course, Wally's strongest form is not when he's harnessing the Speed Force's power, it's when he's in the Mobius Chair and accessing the power of Dr. Manhattan. When possessing the power of Manhattan, this allows him to reshape reality itself along with possessing infinite knowledge and gaining awareness to all of time itself. With this power, Wally believes he can mend all of reality within the DC universe, or pretty much the entire DC multiverse. Meaning, if you didn't think Wally was potentially boundless beforehand, this version of Wally is definitely boundless casually. The Batman Who Laughs did yee him out of the chair, but that was when he was only off guard, and under normal condition, this version of Wally is one of DC's strongest individuals. And in all honesty, he still is one of the most powerful characters within fiction. When comparing him to other verses I talk about like Goku or Alien X, it's pretty clear that this guy is far beyond their capabilities by like an infinite dimensional margin. Alien X is maybe baseline Outerversal with the statement taken out of context, while you have to literally play mental gymnastics to suggest Goku even reaches this tier. Meanwhile, even Wally on a regular basis when channeling the Speed Force's power should be far faster and more powerful than these guys. The Speed Force is a concept in itself that just transcends anything in Ben 10 and Dragon Ball's cosmology combined, along with the majority of other verses that we've mentioned like within Marvel and Bleach. Wally West by himself might already beat Superman. I mean, already characters within the universe think he is stronger than Superman, but if we grant him the Mobius Chair, he would be entering a completely new realm of power and being capable of rewriting all of these realities in any way he desires. However, what's funny about this is Wally doesn't really do much with these powers when he's in the Mobius Chair. He gets glazed for sure, but then just gets thrown off the chair by Batman Who Laughs, who just steals this power. So it does make it kind of hard to say Wally is top 1 in DC, especially in his debut he just gets yeeted out of the chair. But of course, since he has Manhattan's powers, he can just casually wipe the DC universe off the map as Dr. Manhattan can already do that. So unfortunately, Wally doesn't solo, as he would probably get off-guarded and thrown out of the chair pretty easily by characters relative to himself. And if he were to just run a gauntlet on the entire universe, I'm sure some character would be able to get the jump on him and throw him out of the chair, thus preventing him from soloing the verse. So to answer the question, no, Wally does not solo. He doesn't even beat up Sour Grapes. However, he does beat up Goku and Alien X with the blink of an eye. Oh yeah, and he also solos Sonic.
The haters wanna hurt me and I'm living up the pain! Stay still, eyes closed, let the world just pass me by. Pay bills, eyes closed, if I fall I think I'll fly. Touch me with this, make me part of your desire.